Right, yo poop stinkies. Today I'm going to be giving you a review of Max versus Lewis in the championship throughout the season, so we can look back on these fun times and maybe we can finally agree or disagree who deserves to win the championship. But anyway, before we get into it, I'd really appreciate if you like and subscribe, as this video took me quite a while to make. But anyway, yeah, let's get into it. Right, starting off with Bahrain, first race of the season, you never really know what's going to happen. I mean, because let's get real, testing means fuck all these days. But anyway, into quali, Verstappen P1, pole position on the first race, Hamilton P2. Verstappen was looking very good. Then leading into the race, Verstappen led until the pit stops around at 40, when Hamilton pulls the undercut on Verstappen. But then, of course, this then led to Verstappen catching up to Hamilton, fighting in the later stages. And on lap 53, Verstappen went for a move on turn 4, but had all 4 wheels off the track and had to give the position back, giving a race win to Hamilton, making it Ham 1, Verstappen 0, starting off the season with a juicy little fight. And I mean, already in the season, this was controversial. I mean, it wasn't as controversial as it gets, but my God, this season, just even the first race, I don't know how we didn't know that this was going to be one of the best seasons. But anyway, on to Imola, the second race of the season. Quali, Ham takes pole, and Verstappen getting a 3rd place. So not the best, but Verstappen knows what he can do, and he did exactly what we would expect from him. In the rainy weather conditions, the race started with Verstappen getting a great start, which then gave him first position as he took the inside line of the first corner into Hamilton and pushed Hamilton wide, which did give Hamilton a little bit of damage, but it wasn't enough to actually mean anything to his car, luckily. Then all the way on to lap 29, where Hamilton had a slow pit stop, and then 2 laps later on a wet track, the geese went off.
Oh, and sliding off the road goes the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton. And I think he might be, unless he can find reverse, and he's kept the... What caused him to damage his front wing?
So sorry, guys.
I mean, I'll show the clip, but oh my God, like, what a fucking idiot. Like, when I saw that, I was like, this guy's race is over. But of course, it's Hamilton. I mean, even if you hate him or love him, you know this guy's a lucky son of a bitch. And basically, he got pushed back to P7, but because of a crash, there was a safety car, meaning he stormed his way up to the grid and got back to P2, ending the race for Verstappen 1 and Hamilton 2. So he did recover, but it's sort of like, he shouldn't have recovered, not gonna lie. But he got lucky, but that makes it Hamilton 1, Verstappen 1. Now, on to Portugal, where quali was Ham 1st and Verstappen 3rd. Then on to the race, big man Hamilton lost first place to Bottas, and I mean, as you can see already in this season, Hamilton's not been the greatest at starts at the minute, making it Hamilton 2nd and Verstappen 3rd. Then on lap 10, Verstappen overtakes Hamilton at the end of the lap, giving him 2nd and putting him close behind Bottas. But then Hamilton re-overtook Verstappen on the next lap, because they were having a little cheeky ding-dong battle, which we'd love to see. Then Hamilton carried this on by overtaking Bottas, giving him P1, and then later on Verstappen got past Bottas as well. But in the end, Verstappen couldn't give a fight up to Hamilton, leading to the race Hamilton 1st and Verstappen 2nd, over 30 seconds behind him. Yeah, not a great result for the young gun Verstappen, making it in this season Hamilton 2, Verstappen 1. Now on to Spain, qualifying, Hamilton 1st, Verstappen 2nd, and then onto the race, Verstappen on the first lap takes the lead into the first corner, pushing Hamilton to 2nd. Then this meant that Hamilton tried to make an undercut for the lead on lap 43 to catch up to Verstappen, which he does on lap 60 of 66, leading to the race result of Hamilton P1 and Verstappen P2. And as I think we all remember, it's got a big correlation with quite a lot of races that Hamilton doesn't actually lead a lot of the races. He leaves it to the end, which, to be honest, I prefer. Good racing, innit? This then also meant that it was Ham 3, Verstappen 1. So, at the beginning, Hamilton's starting to run away with it. But anyway, on to Monaco, where quali Verstappen P2, so not the best, but got promoted to P1 because of Leclerc's crash. I mean, Ferrari masterclass there. I know Leclerc didn't actually mean to do it, but good on Leclerc for the pole position, even though he didn't. Sadly, couldn't actually do it. And then Hamilton P7, but promoted to P6. Then on the race, Verstappen kept the lead at the start, and then it's Monaco. Verstappen kept the lead at the start, he won. Hamilton down in P7, possibly the worst time to be lower down in the grid. Hamilton came 7th. Like, he tried to get past a lot of people, but it's Monaco. It's Monaco, baby. This then meant that the results are Hamilton 3, Verstappen 2. But with that 7th, it dropped Hamilton quite a lot of points. So I remember at this point, Hamilton and Verstappen were very close on points. But anyway, on to Azerbaijan. And this is where the season, you know, starts to pick up a little. It starts to get a bit cheeky. Yeah. But anyway, quali, Hamilton P2, Verstappen P3. So good job on Hamilton. It's been a while. It'd been 2 races since his last P1. Well, higher than Verstappen, sorry. But anyway, onto the race. On lap 2, Hamilton gets into P1, getting past Leclerc. Oh, also, props to Leclerc, 2 pole positions in a row. It was looking very good for Ferrari at this point of the season. But anyway, that's not what that's not what this video's about. We might do another video on that. But anyway, he got past Leclerc. And on lap 6, Verstappen gets past Leclerc as well, putting in P2 right behind Hamilton. Then, after the pit stops, Verstappen got past Hamilton, allowing him to lead the race, while Hamilton, now in P3, behind Perez. Meaning Hamilton had a lot of work. But, to be honest, everything I just said didn't really matter, because 3 laps later, Verstappen's tyre went and he crashed out, which was pretty dangerous to see.
Oh, and that's Max Verstappen! Max Verstappen on the main straight! Leading this race, now out of this race. Sergio, back in 2018, lose the Azerbaijan Grand Prix with a tyre failure just a few laps from the end.
Quite scary, in fact, it happened to Stroll as well. But because we don't like to see that, especially when they're going very fast in those cars. But it did mean the race was fully just reset with Perez first and Hamilton second. And then on the restart, Hamilton got a banging start, you know, still. But problem was, he then fucked up his settings and went straight on. He dropped to last. And then it ended with Hamilton all the way down in 16th and Verstappen a DNF. So, don't think anyone was a winner in that race, to be honest. So I'm going to keep it at Hamilton 3, Verstappen 2. Now on to France, which is known to be quite a boring race. And to be honest, this year, I'd say it wasn't. I would say it was a pretty decent race. And we'll get on to why. Anyway, in quali, Verstappen first and Hamilton second. And then onto the race, Verstappen went wide on the first corner after getting a decent start. He didn't really have Hamilton, pushing him. But then Hamilton took the lead after this. But then pit stops came around and Verstappen re-overtook Hamilton for the lead. But then Hamilton caught up to Verstappen. And then Verstappen then had to pit again. But then had to catch up to Hamilton, which was very exciting because you got the, I'll show you the radio message there.
They'll give the push. Let's get them. Yeah, the race is on.
But basically Perez let Verstappen pass and they were like, let's get them. It was proper cool. And then of course Perez got Bottas and Verstappen got Hamilton, so it was great to see. And this then meant that Verstappen won the race and Hamilton second, making it all tied up with Ham on 3 points and Verstappen on 3 as well. On to the Styrian Grand Prix, which basically is just another fancy fucking name for the Austrian Grand Prix. And might I say, I think Austria and Belgium, I think are probably my favourite tracks, purely because I just love the aesthetic of them all. It's like the track is in the middle of nowhere, there's just forest everywhere, it's beautiful basically. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. In quali, Verstappen first again, Hamilton second. So Verstappen's fucking up Hamilton in the quali. It's just Hamilton's getting him in the races quite a few times. Then onto the race, Verstappen kept the lead into the first lap, Hamilton kept his second place. Then nothing really happened between them, not going to lie. Verstappen and Hamilton had quite a chill race, with Verstappen dominating the race until Hamilton did get close. I think he got around a second behind Verstappen, but nothing happened, leading it to Verstappen winning, Hamilton second, making it Hamilton 3 and Verstappen 4. So this is the first time in the championship that Verstappen is clear. This isn't points, by the way, this is just who beat who in every race so far. So Verstappen has beaten Hamilton 4 times, and Hamilton has beaten Verstappen 3 times. But anyway, onto the Austrian Grand Prix, which is the basic bitch name for the Styrian Grand Prix, where quali again Verstappen P1, and then Hamilton, I don't know what this geese was doing, but he's down in P4. So he's a bit of a fucking idiot, isn't he? But anyway, Verstappen kept the lead of the race in lap 1, and Hamilton kept his P4. Then, with Perez being pushed into the gravel, this gave Hamilton the chance to get up to P3. And then later on lap 20, he overtook Norris for P2. So props to Norris for keeping that P2 for 20 laps. I mean, we all know Norris had a pretty great season, especially at the first half. But anyway, this put Hamilton right behind Verstappen. But then Hamilton went wide and picked up a little bit of damage on lap 52, allowing Bottas and Norris to overtake him later on in the race, making it an easy win for Verstappen and a lowly P4 for Hamilton. So it's starting to look a bit shaky. Oh, I don't get nervous. I'm getting a little bit shaky. Ooh. And this resulted in Hamilton 3, Verstappen 5 for the season so far, going into Silverstone. And now, I may have said at Azerbaijan, this is where stuff gets juicy. Now this is where we go hands deep. Like, this is where the season, dildo, arse, season gets butt fucked. Oh my giddy arm. But anyway, into quali, it was very memorable as this was the first sprint race to happen in F1 history. And I know a lot of people were shaky about the idea, but I personally really like the idea of sprint races. It just means more racing, more fun, you know, and who doesn't fucking love that? And then this led to Verstappen taking first and Hamilton second. And then onto the race, Hamilton got a better start down the inside, but Verstappen closed the gap like usual. But we love to see it. We love to see hard racing. And if anyone gets annoyed or it's like, oh, he should be racing this hard, bruh, I don't know, go fucking watch golf or some boring shit. Like, who gives a shit? We want to see interesting racing. If people get a little bit nudgy, who cares? But anyway, Hamilton had to settle for second place until he made a move into Brooklands, but Verstappen covered it well, meaning Hamilton had to stay into second place. And then this is where it gets cheeky, because Hamilton's fed up. He's like, nah, I'm not having this. I'm getting past him right now. And then into Copse, he made a diving move into the corner, completely taking out Max. And Ham then dropped down to second himself, letting Leclerc take the lead of the race. And this meant Verstappen was DNF'd. Verstappen was out. This is why it's so controversial.
Incident. Oh, and it was the merest of touches, but it was enough. And look how the wheel has come loose from the rim. Racing incidents.
I wonder what the stewards will think of that.
Could Hamilton have done anything to give Max Verstappen room there and avoid that crash? He was on the inside, of course. Yeah. Was there a bit more room to the right that Hamilton should have been finding?
Because Verstappen was starting to run away with the championship. Like, no one can like doubt that. No one can say that isn't true, because he was. But anyway, after this, Hamilton got a 10-second time penalty for the accident, which I thought was okay. Probably should have got a bit more, probably though. But yeah, the race result really shows how dominant Verstappen and Hamilton were this season, as even with a 10-second time penalty, dropping behind Leclerc after the incident, he still took Leclerc. I think it was in the final laps, Hamilton took Leclerc. I mean, it was sad to see Leclerc lose that P1, but he still got the podium, which is good. But this was such a crucial win for him, and obviously the British crowd went crazy, making it Hamilton 4, Verstappen 5, but very controversially. Now onto Hungary, where the controversy didn't end. Oh no, it got even thicker, it got even juicier. It got that bunda still. But anyway, into quali, Hamilton first, Verstappen third. So, Hamilton getting a first place in quali. That hasn't happened for a while. Again, he didn't get many first place qualies in the first start of the season. But, onto the race, Hamilton got a good start. He kept his first into the first corner. Verstappen, on the other hand, jumped Bottas. Great. Norris jumped him as well. And we all know what happened. Bottas missed his braking point, locked up, smashed into Norris. Norris smashed into Verstappen. And Bottas smashed into Perez, taking both Red Bulls. Out. Double whammy. Double DNF for Red Bull when they were starting to charge away with both championships, which was very problematic. But anyway, we'll talk about it after I've done this race review. This then led to Hamilton having a perfect chance to gain some points for Verstappen, because again, another DNF, 2 DNFs in a row, massive for the championship. But a shit call from the Mercs meant he'd started on Inters on a dry track. Literally the only geese to do it. I'll show the clip. And this then meant that when he actually eventually pitted, he was dropped to 14th. But again, it just shows how dominant Hamilton and Verstappen are. He was 14th. And over the length of the race, he made his way all the way up to 2nd. But props to Alonso, because if it wasn't for Alonso's defending, Ocon might have not won that race. But again, Hamilton's 2nd from 14th after that start. Insane. And then props to Sainz getting his first not his first podium, his second podium for Ferrari for that year, because he got a podium in Monaco. But yeah, this then meant going into the summer break, Hamilton and Verstappen were so close on points. Like, it was Hamilton 5, Verstappen 5. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, Verstappen 2 races ago was looking like he's running away with it. And then, out of nowhere, 2 DNFs. Very controversial. And this is why people think Verstappen should have won the championship ages ago. Because it was controversial. One of them, Hamilton's fault. The other one, Hamilton didn't do anything about it, though. That's just what happens in races. It was a racing incident. Because it was actually Norris who got the worst of it. And then Verstappen and Perez were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But anyway, after a long summer, for us to dwell on what's happened in this season already, Belgium comes along, another one of my favourites. But things do quiet down here because of heavy rain across the weekend. And by the way, when I mean quiet down for 2021 vibes. Like, oh my god, this season was insane. Like, even a shit race was insane. But anyway, quali in heavy rain conditions. Verstappen first, Hamilton third. And big shout out to Russell, who got P2 in quali. And luckily, thankfully, Norris did have a massive, well, not thankfully that Norris had a massive crash, but thankful that he got out of his car and was fine. But then heading on to the race, we were all expecting a great wet race, you know. Russell looking very feisty in that Williams, you know. Hamilton trying to get Verstappen. But nothing fucking happened. All we got was like a few laps behind the safety car for the whole time, with the race being ended because it was too much heavy downfall. Which, I mean, is the right call because we don't want anyone dying. But this then meant Verstappen first, Hamilton third, resulting in Ham 5, Verstappen 6. And, I mean, he did the job on Saturday, so he did deserve the race win. But, I mean, it's a bit of a cheap win, but, you know, you take what you get. And now on to Netherlands, the home country of Max Verstappen. And, my God, if you didn't know before that, you fucking did by the time you were watching a race. It was just orange everywhere. There were so many memes about like Verstappen fans after Verstappen won, and it's just the whole earth's orange from flares. It was fucking insane to see. Love to see it from the fans as well. Love seeing the fans getting so excited about their homeboy. But anyway, quali, Verstappen first, Hamilton second, and then onto the race. Verstappen kept the lead into the first corner with Hamilton staying in second. Then Hamilton tried the undercut on Verstappen, but Verstappen reacted very quickly and stayed ahead, and then got past Bottas on that 31 because Bottas still hadn't pitted yet for the lead of the race again. Then after this, it was an easy win for Verstappen at his home Grand Prix with Hamilton close behind, but he then pitted on the penultimate lap to get the fastest lap point, And to be fair, he did, which, I mean, to be honest, it did show every point in his championship mattered. This then meant it was Hamilton 5, Verstappen 7. And now, on to Italy. And this is where the champion gets even fucking tenser. Like, oh my god, like, it seems like every race I'm saying this, but every race it gets closer to the end of the season just gets juicier and juicier. My god. But anyway, on to quali. This was another sprint race, which I love them. I just fucking love them, oh god. But Verstappen took first, and Hamilton had to settle with fourth. He didn't have the best sprint race, not gonna lie. Then onto the race, Verstappen got a poor start, dropping to second, with Danny Rick, Mr. Bobby himself, taking the lead. But for Hamilton, he was fighting for third all throughout the first part of the race until pit stops arrived, with Verstappen first making his pit stop, but he got a fucking slow pit stop, losing him around 9 more seconds than usual in the pits. And then this meant that when Hamilton pit, he also, not gonna lie, had a slightly slow pit stop, and my god, it was like destiny. These guys came out exactly at the same time, meaning they were fighting into the first corner, and you know what's gonna happen at this point of the championship. Boom, show the clip. Hamilton and Verstappen collide, and they're both out of the fucking race.
Hamilton comes out onto the racetrack now, and is he going to be ahead of Lando Norris? That's the big key. No, he's not. And there's Max Verstappen right behind Hamilton into the first chicane. Once again, it's wheel to wheel. Hamilton and Verstappen, and this time Verstappen and Hamilton have crashed out.
Jesus, they cannot get apart from each other, these geezers. They fucking love each other. But heartbreak and misery for Red Bull and Mercedes meant joy in it. For McLaren, with Ricky Bobby, Rick fucking Bobby, taking first place. He got a win with McLaren in his first season, and not only that, Norris came right behind him in P2, making it a McLaren 1-2. And fun fact, this was the first and only 1-2 of the year. Who would have thought McLaren, the first and only 1-2 of 2021 season? Nah, it was a day to remember for McLaren and their fans. Jesus. But this then meant that it was still Ham 5, Verstappen 7 going into Russia. Now, in Russia, I don't think anything actually happened here. We don't really talk about Russia. But yeah, anyway, very sad race for McLaren fans. But I'll go ahead as normal because we've got to get through this. But I'll be haste about it. I'll be fucking haste because this fucking... But yeah, quali ended with a superb maiden pole position for Norris, and Hamilton 4th, with Verstappen starting last. I think he had a few penalties from changing engine or something, making this a very tough race for Verstappen. But now, onto the race. Hamilton got a bad start, dropping to 7th on the first lap. But on the other hand, Verstappen got a good start, getting up to 17th, which is cheeky for him, because he was last. Then, on lap 2, Hamilton got past Alonso for P6. And by lap 10, Verstappen was in 13th. Then, after all the pit stops, Hamilton had got all the way up to 2nd, and Verstappen was in 7th. Just showing, they just run the field, my dudes. They run the fucking field. But then, this is when the rain starts to fall. And, by the way, while Hamilton was in 2nd this whole time, big bollocks Norris, he had some balls on him. He was P1 and he was keeping Hamilton behind. But his lack of judgment and lack of experience got the better of him, and he made the wrong call not to go onto the inters.
Track very slippery from here to turn 10, lots of cars going off.
Yeah, shut up!
Lando, what do you think about it Inter? What do you think about it in Inter?
No!
Which then meant Norris dropped down to P7, basically losing his first win.
And how much spray is out on the track, and it's now just 4 seconds between Norris and Hamilton.
Verstappen could finish P2 here.
And Hamilton takes the lead of the race as Lando Norris slides off the track and avoids the barriers, manages to keep going, but Hamilton...
Like in Formula 1, but it did mean Hamilton won the Grand Prix, and he got his 100th win, breaking a record no driver has done before him, making it Hamilton 6, Verstappen 7. Now on to Turkey. And in quali, Verstappen came second, and Hamilton had to deal with 11th after he did take pole position, but he had an engine penalty that gave him a 10-place grid penalty, pushing him down to 11th. Now onto the race, Verstappen got a decent start, keeping his second, and Hamilton got a good start, getting up to 9th after the first lap, and then on lap 8, Hamilton got up to 8th, and then by lap 15th, Ham made even more moves, getting up to 5th, ahead of Gasly, and then we had a memorable defence from Perez, who made Ham's life as hard as possible, man.
Gaining as the wheels turn round, and now goes wheel to wheel with Sergio Perez, and does he pass Sergio Perez under braking? He gives the Red Bull a wide berth just in case. He knows that he can make this move stick in the next few corners. He pushes Sergio Perez almost into the pit lane entry. Perez is not going to give this one up without a fight, and they are almost level pegging as they start the next lap. Hamilton's got better acceleration as down towards turn 1 we go. Has Hamilton got up into 4th place? No, he's not.
With Perez just not letting him past, and Hamilton couldn't get past for the life of him. And then after a bad call in the pits, with Hamilton trying to get past Perez, Hamilton had to settle for 5th, and Verstappen with a decent 2nd place to help him in the championship fight. And props to Bottas, who got his first win of the season, making it Hamilton 6, Verstappen 8. Now into USA, where quali, Verstappen 1st and Hamilton 2nd. And then onto the race, Verstappen didn't get the best start, with Hamilton getting past, pushing Verstappen off the track, using some of Verstappen's lovable moves. But then Verstappen stayed behind Hamilton until the pit stops on lap 16. And then after this, there wasn't anything much that happened in the race for Ham and Ver, with Verstappen taking a comfortable win and Hamilton taking 2nd, giving Verstappen another push in the right direction for the championship. Making it Hamilton 6, Verstappen 9 going into Mexico. Now, in Mexico, quali, Hamilton 2nd, Verstappen 3rd, and into the race, Hamilton got a good start, but Verstappen got an even better start, taking the lead ahead of Hamilton, with Gasly getting up to P3, which was very good for him. Big up Gasly, he had a great year, by the way. But anyway, then after pit stops, Hamilton kept his 2nd place, with Verstappen keeping the lead, but with Hamilton close behind his tail. And then Hamilton undercut, but this didn't work out as Hamilton's tyres went off too quickly, leaving him in the grasp of Perez, but Hamilton held off to take 2nd place, and Verstappen took a very easy win. And fun fact, Perez was the first Mexican on the podium at a Mexican Grand Prix, making the fans go ecstatic. And Verstappen's championship lead was looking mega at this point. And it was looking real dire for Hamilton going into Brazil, with Hamilton 6, Verstappen 10 in the championship now. I mean, four races ahead of Hamilton basically. Verstappen was banging it. But anyway, into Brazil. Another great race for Hamilton. Spoilers, I mean, we all know what happened though. But anyway, quali, the sprint races, love them. This led to Verstappen 2nd and Hamilton starting 15th. Because basically in quali, Hamilton had to start at the back for the sprint race, as he had an engine penalty, and then he had another one. He got up to 5th on the sprint race, which was great. Then he had to take another 10-place penalty, and he started. But onto the race, Verstappen got a good start, taking Bottas into the 2nd corner, and Hamilton got a great start as well, getting up to 7th. And then by lap 3, Hamilton was up to 5th. And with Bottas next to go, Bottas just completely let him through, taking one for the team. Great on him, we love to see that, because Bottas was completely out of the fight for the championship now. And then by lap 18, Hamilton took Perez for 2nd place, but Perez again put up a great fight, with Hamilton finalising the move on the next lap. And then until lap 48, Hamilton was catching Verstappen ever so slowly, until he went for a move on lap 48. And of course, Verstappen pushed him wide, which again, controversy came up because of this, because Verstappen went wide and pushed Hamilton even more wide. So I do think Verstappen should have got a penalty for that. But like they say, all is fair in love and war, And Hamilton got another chance on lap 59, finally getting past Verstappen, making it Hamilton first and Verstappen second. And this really showed Hamilton wasn't backing down without a fight for the championship. So this made it Hamilton 7, Verstappen 10 going into Qatar, the new Grand Prix. But anyway, into Qatar quali, Hamilton first, Verstappen 7th after a 5-place grid penalty. Not looking good for Verstappen, eh? Then onto the race. Hamilton had the perfect start, keeping his first place, and Verstappen did get a good start, getting up to 4th, which was a massive for him in the championship. But then Verstappen went on a charge, taking Gasly on lap 4 for 3rd, and then 1 lap later took Alonso for P2, closely behind Hamilton now. Then, after pit stops, nothing changed, with Hamilton actually gaining more of a lead. This was quite a big win for Hamilton, and Verstappen keeping his 2nd place by quite a comfortable way. And, fun fact, Alonso got a podium that race, which was great to see the old lad still got it in his bloody system. This then made it Hamilton 8, Verstappen 10, making the championship fight very tense going into Saudi Arabia. Oh my god. And then what a race this was. I've got a video on this on my channel already, but oh my god, what a video. Quali, Hamilton first, Verstappen 3rd after he crashed out, going as fast as possible. Then onto the race, Hamilton kept the lead, with Verstappen keeping 3rd behind Bottas, but then the safety car was called out and Hamilton and Bottas came in and Verstappen stayed out, but then of course the race was red flagged, giving an advantage straight back to Red Bull. And then on the race restart, Hamilton got blocked by Verstappen, allowing Ocon to get past both of them.
السعودية الكبرى انطلاقة جيدة من لويس هامilton مجددا ولكن من الخارج استبان اوكون من الداخل هذه المرة ماكس فيرستابن إلى الصدارة ماكس فيرستابن ولكن شورت كات من اوكون على يعيد المركز ماكس فيرستابن بيخطف الصدارة مبدئيا ماكس فيرستابن
getting Hamilton 3rd and Verstappen 2nd. But then, after another red flag with Perez, Mazepin and a lot of people crashing, thankfully no one was injured because it's quite a tight circuit. This then meant Ocon started first on the restart, but he did get swallowed by Hamilton and Verstappen quite quickly, with Verstappen first and Hamilton now. But Hamilton was not giving up without a fight, charging ahead for Verstappen until lap 37 when Hamilton tried to move on Verstappen and got pushed wide again. And I mean, I love hard racing, and I was saying earlier on in the video, you shouldn't complain about this, but then this was extreme, a bit more, and it's a bit like, come on mate, what the fuck are you doing? But anyway, this is what happens. But then this time, Verstappen had to give the space back. But of course, it's not as simple as that, is it? It's never as simple as that with Hamilton and Verstappen. Oh, of course, Verstappen brake checked him on the straight when trying to let him past. Then that meant Verstappen got a 5-place grid penalty and had to let him past. But oh no, he let him past and then straight away re-overtook him. And then finally, on lap 43, Hamilton got past Verstappen for the win, allowing Hamilton first and Verstappen second, making them go into Abu Dhabi on equal points. The first time this has happened since 1974. My god. And making the season results Hamilton 9, Verstappen 10. So Hamilton blitzed those 3 races. Oh my god. So this decider was insane. And then Abu Dhabi qualifying, Verstappen first, Hamilton second. Red Bull advantage, Verstappen advantage. Into the race, Verstappen had a bad start with Hamilton jumping Verstappen on the first corner, and then onto pit stops, things stayed the same until Perez did a masterclass of defending. Hamilton lost 6 to 7 seconds on 1 lap, pushing Hamilton straight back into the clutches of
So they're going to press and hold. Okay, back him up, back him up. Press and hold into 12 for lead. Back him up through here.
Verstappen, and oh my god, it looked like Verstappen might be able to overtake him for a little bit, but then of course you could clearly see the Mercedes was faster at Abu Dhabi, and Verstappen was losing. He was losing time. He was like 15 to 20 seconds behind Hamilton. He couldn't keep up. And that's when Lord and Saviour for Verstappen, Latifi, crashed out. Boom. And you know what happens here? Safety car. Verstappen pits. Hamilton doesn't. 1 lap to fucking go. Last lap of the championship. Safety cars come in. 1 more lap. Hamilton old tyres. Verstappen new tyres. Whoever is ahead for this last lap will win the championship. And halfway through the lap, Verstappen lunged into Hamilton, taking first place, but Hamilton wasn't giving up. Went for a move on the outside, but if he went on the inside, I think he would have took him. But Verstappen kept first place and won the championship by the fucking skin of his teeth. Oh my god. Making it Hamilton 9, Verstappen 11. And my god, can we just appreciate how good this fight was? Wow. No matter who you support, no matter who you wanted to win, just wow. What a season. But anyway, that is all the story tells about Hamilton and Verstappen for the championship in 2021. Who deserved it? I think Verstappen, from the stats, clearly deserved it, but Hamilton put up a great fight, never giving up until the final lap. So big props to both of those drivers. But anyway, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. It took me a long time to make this video, going through all of the highlights and looking at Verstappen and Hamilton's fight in detail. So anyway, love you lots.